40. Total profit to be 410. Now multiply for the second constraint. I increase by 1 unit, remember? So I change from 100 to be 101. So the graph, the new one, the first constraint is still the same as this graph, shading below the line. But for the second constraint, it's going to be the graph, the blue one. You can shift from the original one to be the blue one. And then you shading below the line. When you try to find the physical area, you can have this area. The old area plus this area to be physical area. You substitute some value to be the total profit, and you have this one to be isofit line. Maximization, you project to this direction. Optimal solution occur at this one, point C, the red point. You do the calculation to find coordination at this point. X1 31.5, X2 38. Substitute this X2 and X1 to the additive function. You have total profit to be 410.5. Again, 410 and 410.5. The difference or the gap between these two values is 0.5, right? Just write out first 0.5. Then we look at the problem is maximization. We think about the total profit. The old profit 410. The new profit 410.5 profit increase. It shows what a positive result. So then your pi is positive 0.5. Okay. We can practice more. If I let you to go to the slide number 47, the example of minimization. The example of minimization. Now we have the minimization. This is about total cost. Total cost of 4x1 plus 5x2. 4x1 plus 5x2. We have two constraints. X1 plus 3 together equal to 80. 3x1 plus 6 together equal to 75. Okay, based on this example, if I apply the graphical method to find the optimal solution, I have solution at point B. Remember? This is from last week. At point B is optimal solution. We draw the graph of constraint. This is the physical area. Project into the direction then coming to the origin point. This is the optimal solution point at point B. At point B, coordination x1 14, x2 33. Substitute these two values to the additive function. You have total cost minimum at 231. Now, if I ask you to find the multiply for the first constraint, what we can do? Multiply for the first constraint. So then I'm changing 81 to be 80 to be 81, right? I try to find the multiply for the first constraint. So I increase the right hand side 1 unit. So I change from 80 to 81. So then when you change this to be 81, the graph of the first constraint is going to shift to the right hand side a little bit. Right? When you draw it. Right? It's going to cutting around this point. And your isocost line, when you project coming to the origin point, it's going to contact this around this point to be the optimal solution point. On the other hand, this coordination is just about the cutting point between the first constraint, then you have the right hand side 81, cutting with the second constraint. So then you try to solve for these two. Try to find the coordination, optimal solution. Finally, you have x1 13.8, x2 13.6. You substitute both of these to the additive function, you have the new total cost 223.2. Once again, the O1 221. The gap or the difference between these two values, 221 and 228.2 is 2.2. Just write out 2.2 first. Look at the problem is minimization. You think about the total cost. The old total cost 221. The new total cost 223.2. Total cost increase is show about the negative result. Right? The bad result, negative result. So that's why multiply is minus 2.2. Okay? You see that if you increase this one by 1 unit, total cost will increase by $2. If I try to find the multiply for the second constraint, how can we do that? We just increase the right hand side by 1 unit, right? Change from 75 to 76. and you solve for the coordination of this cutting point between these two constraints. You have x1 14.4, x2 32.8. You substitute both of these two values into the objective function. You have total cost 221.6. The old value 221, the new value 221.6. The difference is 0.6. You write down 0.6 first. Look at the problem is minimization. Think about total cost. The old total cost 221, the new total cost 221.6. Total cost increase. It's a negative result, the bad one. So that's why u pi is minus 0.6. Okay. So this is the way that we calculate the u pi. Lastly, for the u pi, before we go further, if I go to the previous example, look at this one. Remember this example, we have three constraints. One thing that you can see, if I ask you, look at this one. If I ask you to find the u pi for the third constraint, additive mixed constraint, how can we do that? If I try to find the u pi for the third constraint, I need to change this one to be 17, right? Okay. If I change this one to be 17, what happens? This graph going to shift to the right hand side, isn't it? For example, it's going to shift to, let's say, going to shift to something like this. The new one. So then when you try to find the visible area, right? You can have this visible area, right? This is a visible area. Right. When you project iso profit line, try to find the result. Optimal solution still at point C. So what happened? When you substitute it, you're going to have the same value of Z value. No difference, no gap. So u pi equal to 0. My point is, this constraint is non-binding constraint. Non-binding constraint, u pi is going to be 0, always. So in conclusion, for today, this is the one thing that we can know. Non-binding constraint, u pi equal to 0. Binding constraint, select and self equal to 0. This is non-binding, this one. You try to find u pi for non-binding, it's 0. So when we study the software program, the printout show u pi 0, you can know automatically this is non-binding for sure. Right? The printout shows select equal to 0, you can know this is binding constraint. So this is my point. Non-binding constraint, u pi equal to 0. This is why, because when you try to find the result, it has the same optimal solution. Optimal solution doesn't change. Okay? And the next one is going to be the difficult one to understand. But I will try my best for you. Remember that I said that for changing the right hand side of the constraint. Okay, this one we finished. Range of optimality, u pi we finished. Now we can study change of the right hand side. Study not change the range of the right hand side. We try to find range of the right hand side. How can we do that? If you still remember about the benefit of dual pies, you can see that dual pi is only exists two values to use, only the range of changing right hand side. So that's what we need to find. This is the way that we're gonna find. Original problem. Look at this original problem. This example, I'm sure you right, on the momentum goal. This is the way we try to find the root height for the first constraint. If right now I try to find the range of changing the right hand side for the first constraint, how can we do that? I try to find the range of changing the right hand side for the first constraint. Okay, look at this one. Okay, listen carefully. It's difficult to explain. So here, original problem. This one 140, this one 100, right? When we draw the graph, we have this graph, constraint 1, constraint 2. You have this shading area to be visible area. You have this isomorphic line, the black one, the black dashed line, by assuming some value to be profit. Maximization in project to this variation. Optimal solution is at point C. This original value, original problem. We can notice one thing. At point C, from the original problem, this is optimal solution point. At point C is occurred from constraint 1 and 2 cutting together only. And we all know that constraint 1 and 2 we call binding constraint. When we try to find the root price, we change this one to 241, remember? From the previous slide here. And I try to solve for the solution of optimal solution. You can see that the new optimal solution is at this point, the red one. And this point is occurred from what? Still come from the cutting point between constraint 1. Which one that has the right hand side between 241? Cutting with the constraint 2, right? Still 1 and 2 cutting together. Right? So if I change to be 242, what happened? Graph going to shift like this. Cutting point is going to be around this one. It still come from 1 and 2 cutting together, right? So if I increase and increase and increase, so graph going to shift until finally, if the graph, look at this. If I increase the right hand side more and more and more, finally the graph for the first constraint changed from this one to be this dashed line. Now this is my first constraint. This is my first constraint, this dashed line. I'm shading below the line. This is the second constraint, I have this one. I'm shading below the line. So visible area is area under the second one. Visible area, right? Called it intersection area. It's an area under the constraint number 2. My isomorphic line is this one, the dashed line, the black one. I'm project to find the optimal solution. Optimal solution is at point E. And at point E, what happened here? It is not come from 1 and 2 cutting together only. You have x2 axis also cutting at point E. So my point is that the way that we try to find the range of changing the right hand side of the constraint, we try to find the point that provides the limit, upper or lower limit. In this case, it's upper limit because we increase. The point that provides the limit is going to be the point that provide you with the optimal solution point, and it's not come from the old binding constraint cutting together only. You should have another one to join. For example, original problem is 1 and 2 cutting together. But now at point E is 1 and 2 and x2 axis. Okay? In other example, maybe if you have more than 2 or 3 constraints, it's going to be 1 cutting with 2, cutting with 3, or 1 cutting with 2, cutting with 4, or something like that. You need to have another constraint to join. On the other hand, you have more binding constraint. Okay? So at point E right now, this is the optimal solution point, and this point is come from constraint 1 cutting with the constraint 2 and x2 axis. Now we have 3 lines cutting together, not just 1 and 2. So now this is the point that provides the limit. In this case, this upper limit. So then we substitute the coordination of this point by E. Coordination at point E is 0, 100. We substitute this coordination to the left hand side of the first constraint. x1 0, x2 100. You're going to have 300, right? 300 is the upper limit of right hand side for the first constraint. Or we can increase 240 up until we reach 300. that we can apply UPI to calculate. If you increase more than 200, you cannot using UPI to calculate anymore. For example, look at this. For the first constraint, we just calculate UPI is $1.5, right? We all know that, okay, if we increase from 240 to be 241, we can expect total profit increase by $1.5. If we change to 242, we increase by 2 units. We can expect to have more profit by $3, right? And just a moment ago, I just showed you that the upper limit is 300, right? So if you increase, right, from 240 to, let's say, 301, that is more than 300. You cannot say that, okay, you can expect the total profit going to be 1.5 multiplied by 61. Okay, you cannot use that. Because 301 is more than 300. Okay? Upper limit is 300. Original one is 240. You cannot increase 240 more than 300. If you increase, let's say you increase to be 340 from 240, increase 100, right? You cannot say that, okay, we can expect to have the total profit increased by 100 multiplied with 1.5. No way. Because it's more than 300. Okay? This one is cannot use. Right? If you change more than 300. But if you change from 240 to be 300, just the bottom line, yes, you can expect the total profit increase by 60 multiplied 1.5. If you change 240 to 301, no way that you can expect to using 61 multiplied 1.5 because 301 is more than 300. Right? This is the upper limit. We're using the same concept for this one. Again, if I change from 240 to 239, the graph of the first constraint is going to shift to the left hand side. When you project, optimal solution still come from the first cutting with the second constraint. Just 1 and 2. That's okay. If you decrease more and more until the first constraint is going to be this dashed line. So right now, my first constraint is this dashed line. This is the first constraint, you shading below the line. This is the second constraint, then you shading below the line. Visible area is area under the first constraint. This is my isotropic line. Maximization at project to this direction is going to have point B to be your new optimal solution point. And right now, point B is come from what? From the first constraint, cutting with the second one and x1 axis, not just 1 and 2 only. So this one, point B, is going to be the point that value with the limit. In this case, it's lower limit, or changing the right hand side for the first constraint. So you substitute the condition at point B, in this case 50, 0. 50, 0 to the left hand side of the first constraint. This one 50, this one 0, you can have 200. So it means that this one you can change, reduce the value up until you reach 200. That you can still using UPI 1.5 to calculate. If you change to other value that lower than 200, you cannot using UPI to calculate anymore. Okay? So the concept is that point that provide the limit. Firstly, it has to be the optimal solution point. Secondly, the point that provide the limit. This is the optimal solution point that you have more than just the original binding constraint cutting together. You need to have another constraint to join. Okay? So in the AC world, I would say you have more binding constraint number. But if you want to have like the shortcut, I can tell you right now what the shortcut to find the limit. It's very easy, but you need to, imagine something. Okay. I will show you with the shortcut how can we find the limit. First constraint, let's say right now, I try to find the range of changing the right hand side for the first constraint. The first constraint is binding constraint, right? This is shortcut is just only for the binding constraint only. Okay. Okay, I try to find the range of changing the right hand side for the first constraint. I look at the original problem. Point C is optimal solution for each come from the first cutting with the second. I try to find for the first one, right? So then I fix another graph or another binding constraint. Stay at the place. This is change anything. For example, constraint 2. I fix this one. And then for the first constraint that I try to find, I just slide along with the constraint 2, something like this. Okay. Fix 2, and then you slide 1. The first point that you slide and you find out the cutting point, that you have not just 1 and 2 cutting together, you have another one to join. That one provides the limit. So in this case, upper limit, okay, you fix 2, you slide 1. This is a cutting point, upper limit. Lower limit, you fix 2, you slide 1. To this one, this is a lower limit. Point B, that's it. How about constraint 2? Constraint 2 is binding as well, right? You try to find range of changing the right hand side for constraint 2. Then you fix 1. Then you slide 2. Upper limit, you slide 2 along with 1. The first point that you have 1 and 2 cutting with another one is point F. Point F is upper limit. Lower limit, you slide 2 along with 1. You have point D. Okay? Point D provide you with the lower limit. That's it. This is for binding constraint. Very easy. Or if you can want to practice, if I go back to this example once again. Okay, let's practice. I try to find range of changing the right hand side for constraint 1 and 2, packaging and extrusion, which are binding constraint. Okay? Let's say I try to find for extrusion. Extrusion is binding, right? Packaging is binding, it's cutting together, right? I find for extrusion, so I fix packaging, I fix the red one. I slide the green one. Upper limit, which point? Which point provide you with the upper limit? It's gonna go to this one. Upper limit. Lower limit, point D. Okay? How about packaging, the second one? You fix the green one, you slide the red one. Upper limit, this point. Because it's 1, 2, and this one cutting. This point provide you with the upper limit. Lower limit, this point, point D. Okay, just slide something like this. Fix another one and you slide the next one. So this is for binding. Okay, this is for binding. Okay. When you find the point, you just substitute the coordination to the left hand side of that constraint. You can get the value. Okay. Okay, let's go back to your example. Okay. How about this one? Okay. Make the review. Now the problem of minimization. I try to find changing the right hand side, range of right hand side for constraint 1. Constraint 1 and 2, cutting at this point, right? Point B. For this problem, constraint 1 and 2 is binding constraint, right? 1 and 2 is binding constraint. So now I try to find the range of changing the right hand side for the first constraint, constraint 1. How can we do that for the shortcut method? We just fix 2, right? Fix 2. And you slide 1, right? Upper limit, you need to increase, so you slide this one, go to this point. Upper limit. Lower limit, this point. How about for constraint 2? You fix 1. Upper limit, you slide point A. Okay, point A provide you with the upper limit for constraint 2. How about lower limit for constraint 2? You fix 1, right? Then you slide 2 along with 1. point E. Okay. So finally, this is a solution, as I mentioned. Constraint 2, you can see point A, right? N is 0, upper limit. Point E, 0, 40 is lower limit. Right? So this one can change from 40 to 240. And for constraint 1, point C, 0, 75, and point D, 25, 0. So you can change from 25 to 150. Okay? This is so now actually the content for today will be done. But we need more practice. Okay? If you still confused, that's fine. We're gonna go to another example more clearly than this. Because this just very easy, we have just two constraints. Just go to this one, the last sheet. I want you to see this example, just two examples, and then we go home. Okay? Look this one. And the reason that we try to find the range, find the group type for other something like that, you're gonna know in the next two classes. In the business problem, that I'm gonna make a review for you again. But now it's just the analysis. Okay, the last slide. Set. We have two more examples. Based on all the examples so far, especially for group ties and chain of the right hand side, we do have just two constraints. Very easy, actually. We will have two examples for 3 and 4 constraints to let you do practice more. For example, in this case, this example is about the high-tech industry company is import electronic components that are used to assemble two different models of personal computers. Right? The first model is HP Desktop. The second one is HP Portable. Right? And now the management want to develop the weekly productions, right, for these two products. We know that Desktop computers, right, the unit profit is $50 per unit, but for Portable is $40 per unit. For the assembly time, right, we have available for next week 150 hours. One unit of Desktop requires 3 hours assembly time, but for one unit of Portable requires 5 hours assembly time. In addition, they also have the inventory, which is the display unit used to make only for the Portable computer only. So it means that there is no more than 20 units of Portable that we can produce. And finally, we have the constraint about the warehouse space. The company has available 300 square feet for the warehouse space. But for one unit of Desktop require 8 square feet for warehouse space, and one unit of Portable require 5 square feet for warehouse space. So they want us to find the optimal solution. So if I try to collect all the information into the table, so you can see we have two products, Desktop and Portable. One unit Desktop requires 3 hours of assembly time, require 8 square feet of warehouse space, and unit profit is 50. One unit of Portable computer requires 3 hours of assembly time. One unit of display, 5 square feet of warehouse space, and the unit profit is 40. But for the next week's situation, they have available assembly time 150 hours, available display 20, and available warehouse space 300. So if I want to solve for this problem, for sure that the decision variable is going to be the unit to produce for Desktop and Portable, right? X1 and X2. So this is the linear programming formulation for this problem. Our objective is try to maximize the total profit. X1 refers to number of Desktop to produce. x2 is portable to produce. So now we have objective function, maximize the total profit equal to 50x1 plus 40x2. Subject to, we do have three constraints. The first constraint is the constraint that refer to the assembly time. 3x1 plus 5x2 less than or equal to 150. The second constraint is about the display unit, x2 less than or equal to 20. And the last constraint, constraint number 3, is about the constraint of warehouse space. 8x1 plus 5x2 less than or equal to 300. And then from this formulation, I apply the graphical method, the information from last week, to solve for this problem, and this is the result. The shading area is visible area. This one is visible area. This dashed line, the one that I point here, this line is isopropyl line. Optimal solution occurs at point C, this point. Coordination at point C is 30, 12. So it means that from the graphical method for this problem, if they want to have the maximum profit, the company needs to produce less or equal to 30 units, or x1 30 units, and produce portable or x2 equal to 12 units. And the total profit that they're going to get is 1,980. Okay? Okay, for now, we're going to make review of all information that we have studied so far for today. Again, x1 at optimal solution, x1 30, x2 12, both are basic variable because it's not zero value. Constraint 1 and constraint 3. These two constraints cutting together for an optimal solution point at point C. So constraint 1 and constraint 3 are binding constraints. Constraint number 2 here, it doesn't help to provide optimal solution at point C. So constraint 2 is non-binding constraint. Okay? Next one, if I try to find the dual price, if I try to find the dual price for the first constraint, how can we do that? The dual price for the first constraint, I'm just increase the right hand side, remember? From 153, 151. So if I increase 1 unit for the first constraint, what happens? The first constraint graph gonna shift to the right hand side a little bit, something like this. Right? And when you try to find the optimal solution, you're gonna have visible area, the O1 plus the small one that I'm shading. Okay? Okay? And then you project isopropyl line. You're gonna have the optimal solution. The new one is at point around this one. The new one. The cutting point between the first constraint that you have the right hand side 151, cutting with the constraint number 3. So this is you solve for cutting of these two constraints, cutting point of these two constraints. The first cutting with the second and the third one. Finally, we have x1 29.8, x2 12.32. We substitute this x1, x2 to the objective function. We have total profit 1,982.8. Remember, all profit is 1,980. So the all profit and the new profit, the difference between these two values of the gap is 2.8, right? We write down 2.8 first. Then we look at the problem. Problem is maximization. Think about total profit. The all profit 1,980. The new profit 1,982.8. Profit increase, right? So it shows the positive result. So that's why I is positive 2.8. How about the dual price for the second constraint? The dual price for the second constraint, we can note automatically that is equal to 0 because second constraint is non-binding. Second constraint is non-binding, so dual price is equal to 0. How about the third constraint? If I want to try if I try to find the dual price, so I increase this one to be 301, right? So the graph gonna change, constraint number 3 gonna change a little bit to this one. Right. you're gonna have the old physical area plus this additional physical area. And again, optimal solution will occur at the point of cutting point between constant 1 and constant 3. The constant 3 that you have the right side 3 over 1. So then you solve for the cutting point between constant 1 and constant 3. Then you have this one to be 3 over 1. Finally, you have x1, coordination x1 30.2, x2 11.88. You substitute to the derivative function, you have the new profit 1085.2. Or profit, remember? 1080, right? The difference between these two values is 5.2. Top limit maximization thinks about total profit. Profit increase, right? Show the positive result, so that's why U pi is positive 5.2. For the U pi for the third constraint. Okay? The next one. If I want to find range of optimality for this problem, if I want to find the range of optimality, it means I try to find the range of changing the slope of isomorphic line that provide the optimal solution still at point C, this point. So in this case, it means that range of optimality needs to be the changing of the slope of isomorphic line between constant 3 and constant 1, right? In order to have point C, optimal solution point. So then, again, slope for objective function or the isomorphic line, minus x1 over x2. Slope for constant 3 is minus 8 over 5. Slope for constant 1 is minus 3 over 5. And then you split the two cases once again and follow the step. Okay, I will not go further anymore. This is a range of optimality. But how about range of changing the right hand side? For constant 1, range of the right hand side for constant 1. Upper limit, which point that provide upper limit? Constant 1. Constant 1 is binding or not binding? Constant 1 is binding, right? Another binding is constant 3. So then we try to find for 1, we fix 3. And then we slide 1, right? Upper limit, which point? Point G, right? You fix 3. And then you slide, increase, right? You slide 1 with 3. So this one is the first cutting point. Then you have 1 cutting with 3 and another one to join. Point G provides the upper limit of the right hand side for constraint number 1. Point G. How about the lower limit? Which point? Okay. If you fix 3 and then you slide 1, you're gonna have this. Okay. My question is point B or point E? Point that provide the lower limit for constraint 1. B or E? Right. B or E? B, right? It's not E. Why? Because remember, point that provide the limit should be the O binding constraint cutting together and another one to join. So you fix 3 and then you slide 1. So you find this one is nothing. Right? Just log. Right? Okay? So point B is the point that provides lower limit for constant 1. Okay. The next one, how about I try to find the range of the right hand side for constant 3. For constant 3 this time. I try to find for constant 3, so then I fix constant 1, right? Then I select 3. Upper limit, which point? Tell me. You fix 1 and then you slide 3. Which one provides the upper limit? Which one? Yes, point F. You fix 3, right? Right? Oh, so we can by 3, you fix 1. So this one, you fix 1, and then you slide 3. This is the first point that cutting 1 and 3, and another one is x1. This one provides upper limit for constraint 3. How about lower limit for constraint 3? Which point? Which point? Yes, point D. You fix 1 here. You slide 3. This is the first cutting point that you have 3 cutting with 1 and constraint 2 to join. Point D dot provide you with the lower limit. Lastly, how about constraint number 2? If I ask you to find the rate of changing the right side for constraint number 2. Remember, constraint number 2 is non-binding. Not binding. You cannot using the same concept as well. But it's easier actually for non-binding. Okay, keep in mind, for non-binding, look at this. If I try to find the upper limit, how can we do that for constraint 2? I'm just increase, right? Upper limit increase to 20 to 21, 22, 23, 24, something like that. What happened to the graph? If I change to 21, graph shift to this, you have addition more physical area. But when you project optimal solution, it's still at point C, right? 22, 23, 24, 25, 20, 30, 40, 1 million, you still have optimal solution at point C, right? Because what? Because constraint 2 doesn't change, it still be non-binding forever. In the case that you getting upper value, increase and increase. But for other constraints, the way that we calculate for binding constraint, for example, constraint 1 and 3, that I teach you to using the pick another one and select the one that we want to find. For example, constraint 3, look at this. You fix 1, and for lower limit, you select 3, you tell that point D is lower limit, right? What happened? If you go further, constraint number 3 will not be binding constraint anymore. It's going to change to non-binding. So the point that provides the limit should be the last point that one or another constraint that you consider changing the status from binding to non-binding, something like that. But for non-binding constraint number 2, you can see, in this case, you try to find upper limit, you increase more and more and more. Constraint 2 still be non-binding, not change anymore. So in conclusion, the shortcut for non-binding constraint is that if you consider non-binding constraint and you try to find the rate of changing the right-hand side, one side for sure, I don't know, upper or lower, it depends on the problem, it's going to be infinity. In this case, upper limit for constraint number 2 is infinity, positive infinity. But the lower limit is point C. Because if you reduce and reduce until you cutting at point C, what happens? When you project to find the optimal solution occurs at point C, and this time at point C, the binding constraint is come from point C is come from constraint 1 cutting with the constraint 2 and constraint 3. Constraint 2 change from binding to non-binding, change from non-binding to be binding constraint. Okay, so for non-binding constraint, one side is going to be infinity for sure. Another side is original optimal solution point to be the point that one with. For example, in this case, constraint 2 is non-binding, right? Range of the right-hand side, positive infinity. And point that provide lower limit, original optimal solution by C. Okay, so you can see for the solution here. So that's why we have constraint 2 infinity and lower limit is 12 because this comes from original optimal solution point. And for this one, you just substitute point that I tell. How about practice one more example? The last one for today. This example is about the TV company. They produce two TV sets, Astro and Cosmo. These two TV sets are using the same department to make their production. We have capacity for Astro is 70 TV sets per day. The capacity for Cosmo is 50 TV sets per day. Department A is about a picture tube. One Astro set requires 1 level out, and one Cosmo set requires 2 level out. And they have available maximum of 120 level out for this department A. For department B, it's about the body of the TV. In this department, Astro one set requires 1 level out, and Cosmo one set also requires 1 level out as well. And they have available 90 level out for department B. The unit profit for Astro is $20, and unit profit for Cosmo is $30. For sure that the company would like to know how many Astro and Cosmo TV sets that they have to produce in order to have the maximum profit. This is the data of this problem. We have two TV sets, Astro and Cosmo. Capacity for Astro is 70 TV sets per day. One Cosmo requires 1 level out for department A and 1 level out for department B. Unit profit is 20. One Cosmo, they have capacity 50 TV sets and require 2 level out for department A and 1 level out for department B. The unit profit is 30. For the department A, available level out is 120. Department B, available level out is 90. So finally, this is the linear programming formulation. Suppose that I use X to be the number of Astro to produce, Y to be the number of Cosmo TV sets to produce. We're going to have the problem of maximization, total profit equal to 20x plus 30y. We will have 4 constraints. The first 2 constraints is about constraint regarding to the capacity of Astro and Cosmo. The next 2 constraints going to be the constraint regarding to the capacity, not capacity, the available level out for department A and B. And again, I'm using the graphical method. This is the solution. The shading area is visible area. This dashed line is isomorphic line. Point D is the optimal solution point, and coordination is 60 and 30. Substitute 60 and 30 to the objective function. We have the total profit 2100. Again, if I want to find range of optimality or changing the slope of this isomorphic line, the slope of this isomorphic line needs to lie between the slope of constant 3 and 4. Okay. The next one, if you look at the problem, you can find out that constant 1 and 2 are non-binding constraints because it does not provide cutting at binding. But on the other hand, constraint number 3 and number 4 both are binding constraints because it provides the cutting point to be the optimal solution point binding. How about the dual price? Constant 1 and constant 2. Dual price equal to 0 because they are non-binding constraints. How about the dual price for constraint number 3? You increase 1 unit to the right hand side of constraint number 3, or changing from 120 to 121. And then optimal solution point is going to cutting between 3 and 4. So then you're solving this one, right? Between 3 and 4, cutting point. And then you have x 59, y 31. Substitute x and y here to the objective function. You have the new total profit 2110. The old one 2100. So the gap or the difference between the old one and the new one is 10. So you just write down 10 first. Look at the problem is maximization. Think about profit. The old profit 2100. The new profit 2110 profit increase. Show the positive result. So the new price is positive 10. Okay. How about the new price for constraint number 4? You increase the right hand side constraint number 4 by 1 unit, right? So you change from 90 to be 91. Once you change it to be 91, the graph will shift to this. And the new optimal solution is going to be the cutting point between the constraint number 3 and constraint number 4, which is the right hand side equal to 91. So you just solve for these two cutting point constraints, constant 3 and 4. The constant 4 that you have the right hand side 91. You solve for the cutting point, you have x 62, y 29. Substitute both of these to the objective function, you have the new profit 2110 equal to the previous one. The profit 2100, right? So the gap is 10. Problem with maximization, profit increase, show a positive result, delta is positive 10, equal to the previous one. Okay. How about range of changing right side? The last one. Constant 1. Look at this constant 1. Constant 1. If I try to find the range of changing the right hand side for constant 1. Constant 1 is non-binding or binding? Non-binding, right? Non-binding. One side to be infinity, another side is original optimal solution point. In this case, constant 1, upper limit going to be positive infinity. Lower limit, which point? Point D, original optimal solution point. Okay? How about constant 2? Constant 2 is non-binding, right? Upper limit is positive infinity. Lower limit is point D, original optimal solution point. Okay? How about constant 3? Constant 3 is binding constraint. Another binding is 4, right? We try to find 3. So then we fix 4. And then we slide 3, right? Upper limit we slide to this. So which point? Point H. Point H to be the point that was the upper limit for constraint 3. How about the lower limit? You fix 4 and then you slide to this. Right? Which point? Point C. Point C is the point that provides the lower limit for constraint 3. Yes. The last one. You think I'm tired? Yes. Just imagine that we change. I'm the student and you are the teacher. You try to teach this thing. And I have the low skill of PowerPoint, If I have the very good skill for PowerPoint, maybe I'm quick to show you, right? If anyone can help me, I give you an 8. Help me with the animation, So it's easy, just quick to show you this line, change this line. I cannot do that. I'm having low skill with PowerPoint. Okay, the last one, question number 4. Yeah. Want to help me? Okay, constant 4. Constant 4 is binding or non-binding? Binding, right? Then another binding is 3, right? We fix 3. And then we slide 4. Upper limit, which point? Point G, yes. For constant 4, upper limit is point G. Lower limit is point E, yes. With that, so. So, this is a solution. The point that you just told me, you substitute the coordination to the left hand side of the constant that you consider, you're going to have the value, okay? Okay. So, I will stop here. This is the thing. Go back and make your review. If you have any question, you can ask me in the next class, or you can make an appointment with me. You need to review. I will not go back anymore. Next week, we're going to go to another topic. The second thing is that during the break, your friend come to negotiate with me about the number of groups. They said that you already have 5 groups, right? You have 5 groups, right? I asked you to divide into 6 groups, but your friend said in other course they have 5 groups. So I said, I'm not mind. You just go back and talk together. How many groups that you want? And tell me. I will arrange the case study for you. Just one thing. If you change from 6 to 5 groups, the 2 groups, we can have 3 and 2, right? The group of 2, you can have one group that makes twice for the presentation. Right? If you have 3, one group per one presentation, right? Because we can have 2 cases per one topic. For example, the first case is about linear programming. I can have two cases for you. Three group do the first case, another three group do the second case, and you make two presentations. For the second case, for the second presentation, it's about the nonlinear programming. Let's say I can have two cases for you. The first three group do the first case, another three group do the second case of that. So just talk together and tell me what you want. And lastly, if anyone can help me with the animation for the PowerPoint, just have to talk with me. You can get paid. Okay? Okay, that's it. Thank you for your attention. So I know you're tired. I'm so tired, so it's difficult. So just make a review. Go back. Thank you.
What is right? Very good.
Django in this country also.
This is not real jungle. Definitely, this is not real rainforest.
So you want to go to Amazon?
Hello. Okay, one thing, just a reminder. This course, I have 3 sections. You guys, section 21 for English program. Section 1 is for MBA regular. Section 8 for MBA Young Executive. So someone from your section is enrolled into section 1, not this section. So now I'm trying to delete. So make sure that you request me to add to section 21. Okay?
You're in the hall chat, right? ไม่แค่นี้พอแล้วครับไม่น่าเชื่อคือเราอะไม่น่าเชื่อตอนนี้ต้องบอกว่าเอาอีกแล้วคุณดูเก่งนะไม่ยากนี่วิชาที่ท้ายไม่รู้ไม่3 วิชาทีเดียวเราไม่ได้อย่างเดิม3 วิชาทีเดียวปล่อยนอกกรอบแต่ว่ารอบนี้ไม่ค่อยมีในเรียนด้วย